Man, there's so many layers to this Steve Wilks firing and the conversations that are happening on social media because of it. This one might take a minute to break down, but essentially, you have a side that's frustrated that Steve Wilks is being seemingly scapegoated. And that's not necessarily the case. I think anybody who's been watching the 49ers all year knew that this was probably inevitable. And there was disagreement in how to run this defense for a big portion of this year. That being said, where the frustration comes in is that the 49ers lost the Super Bowl. Steve Wilks and his defense did a fantastic job in the Super Bowl. And somehow, games that weren't the Super Bowl, situations that didn't happen in the Super Bowl, the defense not being as stout in the run game throughout the course of the season as they had been in the past, somehow that is clouding the judgment of what actually happened in the Super Bowl. The 49ers defense and Steve Wilks did their job. That is not why they lost the Super Bowl. And people using other games and other portions of the season to somehow intertwine with the 49ers losing the Super Bowl is where the scapegoating is happening. I don't believe that the 49ers are using Steve Wilks as a scapegoat to why they lost the Super Bowl. I just don't think it was a great fit. But then there's the side of Kyle Shanahan also, where he doesn't take any blame. He refuses to take blame in a public setting. The hope is that he takes blame when he's with his team and puts things on himself. But when you're asked why you stopped running the ball in the third quarter for large chunks, and your answer is, I didn't, what do you mean? You started the half with 9 of your first 10 plays being passes. Like, that happened. So this thought that Kyle Shanahan is above reproach is where it's frustrating. And anytime you bring up anything that Kyle can improve on, the immediate answer is, well, if you're going to fire him, who are you going to replace him with? Nobody said to fire him. Nobody's saying that. I'm not saying nobody as in literally nobody. I'm sure you can find a few people. 99% of the people that are saying Wilks did a good job, Wilks' defense did a better job in the Super Bowl than Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is objectively true, aren't saying that Wilks shouldn't have been let go based off of how the season went, and also aren't saying to fire Kyle. I'm just saying for that one game, the defense did their job, and the offense, for a multitude of reasons, not necessarily just Kyle, didn't perform. CMC fumbled. Trent Williams made some mistakes and killed the drive. So the bottom line is the defense in that one game did what it was supposed to do, and the 49ers didn't win the Super Bowl. Period. But also, Steve Wilks being let go probably should have happened. Both can be true. I guess the real thing is that for those of you that think the defense lost the Super Bowl, let me ask you this. Dre Greenlaw left that game at halftime. Talanoa Hufanga never played in that game. If you remove those equivalent players from the 49ers offense and the offense smuttered, do you think that people would make excuses for the offense as to why they couldn't score more than 19 points? Probably. But why does Wilks and his defense not get any leeway for that? Why does Wilks' defense, who did give up 19 in 4 quarters, actually probably more like 12 because of the special teams blunder, why don't they get a pass for losing great players? They're just expected to stop Patrick Mahomes in overtime, who was given 4 downs to get a first down based off the decision that Kyle Shanahan made. So the point is, Steve Wilks didn't lose the Super Bowl. The defense didn't lose the Super Bowl. It was ultimately a team loss, but if you're going to blame somebody between Kyle and Wilks, Kyle's the clear answer. His unit didn't perform near as well as the defensive unit did. And Wilks also probably deserved to be fired based on how the season went. So there's just this area where multiple things can be true, and tweeting them out isn't enough, because if you say one thing, people assume that you mean another, and that's not necessarily the case. So here you go.